Welcome to the Spring '91 version of FYI.
Yes, welcome. John, before we get started on this great, timely show, I want to congratulate you on being named chairman of
Well,
Horizon
thank you.
Air.
It's a real honor.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We have some great footage, I understand, from the briefing that Bruce Kennedy gave when he did resign his post.
We were having a board meeting, and Bruce called together officers and management people from both of the companies and made the announcement. It came as quite a shock to people, but, I mean, as you can imagine.
Right.
But it's some interesting footage, and I think we ought to just start with that maybe
Let's
and
go right
let
to
everybody in on that announcement.
What you'll be most interested to know, George and company here, is that effective today, Ray Vecchi has been elected chairman of Alaska Airlines. In addition to his president and chief executive officer titles, John Kelly has been elected chairman of the board of Horizon, in addition to his previous titles as president and chief executive officer. Also today, Ray Vecchi was elected by the board of Alaska Air Group to be president and chief executive officer of Alaska Air Group, effective today. And on a deferred basis, at the close of the annual shareholders meeting on May 21st, Ray will take over as chairman of the board of Alaska Air Group as well. So that's the substance of the change. I'd just like to say, in terms of how this came about, give you a little bit of an idea. I actually made a firm personal decision. As it turns out, it was a year ago yesterday that the time had come for me to begin to make arrangements for a succession at Alaska Air Group. It was not an easy decision to make, and it was one that was some time in thought, but I was anticipating it somewhat when I suggested to the board that it be enlarged in 1989, and that John Kelly and Ray Vecchi be brought onto the Alaska Air Group board. They'd already been on the subsidiary boards. But after sort of thinking about my tenure, and at that time I had been chairman and chief executive officer of Alaska Air Group and Alaska Airlines had passed the 10-year mark, I concluded that it was a healthy thing for a corporation to have a change of leadership from time to time. And as I reviewed practice at other companies and thought about Alaska Airlines, I thought that 10 years, something a little over that, was probably optimal, that there would be a new energy that would come to the company as a result of new leadership. Another factor was that I felt that others should have an opportunity to lead the corporation. A number of you were around, I see your faces now, when Ron Cosgrave stepped aside fairly suddenly during the battle to take control of Wien Air Alaska. We talked about Richard Wien here, who's since become an ally. The family name was on the barn there, but that battle with household finance and with the courts and with the CAB to try to get control of Wien as a competitor, Ron decided to leave and head the effort to fight that battle for us. And as a result of that, I had an opportunity, which was unexpected to me, to have the leadership of this corporation. And it's a real privilege, and I've enjoyed it. But as I look back, I thought I could stay conceivably and do this job for another 10 years or 15 years if I wanted to stay to a normal retirement age. But I had to ask myself, why should I not afford one or even conceivably two more people during that span of time the same opportunity that I'd had to lead this company, because I felt there were others in the company that could do the job at least as well as I had. So that was the second factor. The first was just the term of time. The second was an opportunity for someone else, and the third was just stirrings myself. I began to sense a restlessness, having been in business for 30 years and been with Alaska Airlines for over 20, and passing 11 years then as CEO. I thought that perhaps there's some other things I'd like to do with my life in addition to trying to take Alaska Airlines to be a $2 billion corporation or something like that, or Alaska Air Group. So those three things coinciding, I made the firm decision. As I say, it was actually a year ago yesterday. And soon thereafter, at the next board meeting, we elected a committee of outside directors to work with me to make the selection, to go through the selection process. Ron Cosgrave, who's on the podium, was the chairman of that committee. The initial directors working with us were Byron Malott and Frank Turpin. And that whole process went on then all through March, April, May, on until actually the committee, after many hours of meeting and a good deal of work, made its final recommendations or its own decision in late August, which were the decisions that were implemented by the boards in September of last year. The board then reconvened early this year to pick up its work again and consider the further changes, and those recommendations were brought to the full boards today, and the action that we've announced are those that were recommended by the board at that time. I guess you know, it's hard to say in terms of summary what I would point out as the highlights of this time, but it's certainly been an exciting period of years. And I went through quite a number of them. I went and found about 3 pages to go through with the directors just for a brief reminiscence of some of the things we've done together. And it's been a great time. It's been a team effort with an outstanding board of directors, a very supportive board of directors, a management team in depth, of which you are a major part, that's enabled us to have the successes we have, and I think have some fun along the way, some difficult times, but in total our efforts have been well spent, and the results are, I think, apparent to everyone. At this time, as I go beyond that stage and look to a change with mixed feelings, I have every confidence in John, in Horizon Air. He's done an outstanding job with Horizon. I think you'll all agree that's a super little airline over there. You guys are doing you do Alaska Air Group proud. You do all of us proud with what you do there. And John, as head of that team, deserves a great deal of the credit for the leadership he's exercised, and is richly deserving of the promotion that he has and the recognition that goes with that. For Ray, he gets the big banana or something like that, the big job, the big challenge. But Ray has been an important part of this company for a long time. He's been a key part of the decisions that have been made here for over a decade, and I think that he's earned all of our confidence through those years, and that our confidence has been strengthened by his performance since September. So it's with every confidence that I turn over the major part of the responsibility to Ray, effective within the last hour or so, and look forward to passing the gavel to him at the end of the meeting in May. I know that more tough times lie ahead. I think we're up to it as a company team. I think the best times lie still ahead. It's an exciting industry, full of challenges, full of promise, and while I'm going to have some tough times realizing that I'm not I won't be here for all of that. Still, it's what I want to do, and I'll be cheering you on from the sidelines when I'm not here with you full time. So, with that, Ray, my congratulations to you and to John.
Well, it was very emotional. He's an eloquent speaker. He really spoke from the heart.
That's the key. It really was from the heart, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity between now and May 21st for people to say their goodbyes in the role that he has been in. Mm-hmm. You have to remember he will be around on the board. He'll be a force still with Air Group, but he's going to be missed in that role. In the meantime, Ray is just excellent to work with, and we'll continue that relationship and build on it.
That's great. We'll look forward to that. John, in this next segment that we'd like to go to right now, you had a chance to take a look at the continuous maintenance program.
This may seem like a rather unusual location to be in the cockpit of a Dash 8, but the story that you're going to see coming up involves how they play a major role in our continuous maintenance program.
It's late, I gotta get on home. It's late, I've been gone too long, too bad. Should've checked my time. This flight could already be gone. It's late, I gotta get on home. Baby, look at that clock, why can't it be wrong?
If you're not on the Horizon Shuttle, think of what you're missing. With flights every half hour between Portland and Seattle, you're never late for a Horizon Shuttle. Just a little early for the next.
Horizon's commitment to this level of service requires not only a reliable fleet of aircraft, but also a low operating cost. Although Horizon has enjoyed the highest TBO of all operators of the Dash 8 engines, and thereby the lowest operating cost, it was not good enough for Horizon's Maintenance and Engineering Department. So Vice President of Maintenance and Engineering, Ken Hobby, decided to initiate a process that would allow Horizon to have an engine continuous maintenance program.
Pratt & Whitney was already working on a program for the Series 100 engines, and these things are generally issued as an ag toil. Horizon could have waited for the ag toil to come out, but we wanted to be proactive, get ahead of the game, take advantage of the cost cutting that the program would provide. So we went ahead and put together our own program and submitted it to the local FAA.
So what was needed for the Maintenance and Engineering Department to win approval from the FAA? The first thing was to formalize and improve the Dash 8 engine trend monitoring program. Although the crews were entering information into the log and maintenance was using this information, it was not required as part of any program. So all pilots had to be trained in the classroom and cockpit on the procedures and importance of logging engine readings in stabilized cruise. And the reliability people had to be trained to transfer this information from the log sheets into the computer, and the propulsion manager and other key people had to be trained in proper reading of the trend lines. Next, proper tools and equipment were needed. Foremost in this regard was the need for a fiber optic video borescope. The permanent record retention capability of this inspection tool is unsurpassed for comparison over time of the internal condition of the engine. Because maintenance wanted to cut costs even further by doing their own hot sections in-house, an investment in engine tooling and equipment was necessary. All of the training, procedures, past engine history, tooling, etc. needed to be documented and submitted to the FAA. This was done on April 19, 1990, and on July 19, 1990, the FAA gave final approval. Let's follow the process through its entirety. After 5 minutes of stabilized cruise, the pilot enters the engine readings. Horizon's procedure calls for the pilot to log engine readings by tail number for each Dash 8 flown on a daily basis. If, for instance, there are 3 crew changes each day on one aircraft, then reliability will receive 3 trend monitoring log entries. This ensures 100% daily compliance. The log pages are subsequently sent back to the Records and Reliability Department, where reliability analysts enter the readings into the computer. The computer is programmed with Pratt & Whitney's ECTM-4 trend monitor software, which takes the input data, stores it, and then prints out on demand trend lines for all of the engine's parameters. These trend lines are reviewed daily by the manager of propulsion, Bob Brown, or his designee. Significant excursions from the trend line call for action.
Maintenance control, this is Bob. I have an engine that's showing a little shift in ITT trends, so we want to set an action request to have an ITT system check and borescope. And this is on 821 number 1 side, and we'll make it a priority C. Yes, that's 3 days. An aircraft will be in here Thursday night, so on an RON in Portland, and I'll notify production control. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Maintenance control then starts the necessary rerouting of aircraft to bring 821 into Portland, where the inspection and borescope is accomplished, and production control issues a special work package for Thursday night. The next day, the propulsion manager meets with Dave Fitzpatrick, Director of Maintenance.
Dave, as you know, last night we did a ITT system check and a borescope inspection on 821 number 1. The ITT check turned out real good. Borescope didn't look very good. I'll show you here right now. This is the first threshold inspection we did by borescope, and it looks pretty clean.
About 2,000 hours, you said?
Yeah, about 2,000 hours ago.
Okay.
Here, let me forward this a little bit. We can get in here now. This is the one we did last night. As you can see, we have some distress. So I recommend that we get this engine off in a week or 2.
And this has about 6,700 hours, I think you said.
Yeah, record shows 6,700 hours since overhaul.
So this is pretty typical, you think, of what we're going to find on these things?
Yeah, it appears that that's about the time when we need to start going into them, and we can repair this one and get it fixed right here in house.
So you want to bring this in and shop yourself?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just do it right
Yeah,
here.
sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
The aircraft was routed into Portland 7 days later. The engine was changed, and the engine shop restored the hot section.
Horizon's been on this continuous maintenance program now for about 7 months, it's gone just about as we expected. In fact, maybe a little better in some regards. Our high time engine is now 7,500 hours since new. The rest of the engines all look fairly good. I think we have 4 or 5 engines over 6,000 hours. Our best guess is that we will remove an engine for hot section somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 hours. But the real key to our continuous maintenance program lies right there in the cockpit. I'd like to have Ted Blahnik, our Dash 8 chief pilot, tell you how our crews contribute to the continuous maintenance program.
The role that the pilots play, I believe, involves controlling the engine temperature. There's 4 critical areas where temperature has a chance to rise, and I think if the pilots control those areas, we can contribute greatly to your maintenance program. First area is during start. If we use external power, the starts are a lot faster and considerably cooler than if we were to use battery starts. So we try to avoid battery starts. Second area involves controlling temperature during normal operation of the aircraft. For example, prior to takeoff, we always consult a takeoff power setting chart like I have right here, and we also consult a chart for climb, cruise power settings. Anytime we change the prop RPM or climb to a different altitude where the outside temperature changes, we consult the power setting chart. Okay, the pilot's role in flight is to collect the trend monitoring data. After we have all our parameters set and stabilized for 5 minutes, the pilot records the engine parameters and also the temperature, pressure, altitude, etc. Landing and rollout is another one of those time periods where pilots can really make a difference. Letting the airplane roll to that middle intersection rather than that first one to avoid using reverse in that temperature cycle there. And then after landing, we taxi to the gate using both engines. A lot of times when you arrive in the gate area, you get that last second hard right turn. Both engines are running while there's no additional power needed. Then after we park, we use a 30-second cool down prior to engine shutdown.
It's absolutely clear that both Horizon and Horizon's passengers benefit from programs like these that emphasize cost control and reliability.
So tired, tired of waiting for you. So tired, tired of waiting for you.
What are you waiting for? The Horizon Shuttle has flights every half hour between Portland and Seattle. The Horizon Shuttle. Why wait for anything else?
John, that was another interesting piece on maintenance. I feel like I know the department so much better with the last video that we did, profiling the department, and now this one. Now this segment is a show unto itself, and how's that being used, or what are we doing with that?
Ken wanted us to do that for a presentation that his department was making to really an industry group sponsored by de Havilland, Pratt & Whitney's and Hamilton Standards and people like that. It was so well received that numerous people have asked for copies. So I think Ken feels real proud. Well, he should. Not only proud of the video, but of the program itself, because it's one that's going to save us millions of dollars.
Well, it was a good piece. It's really a good piece.
And now lastly, we have what is a very, very timely piece, and it's something you've been heavily involved in.
Right. We're calling this the new look, the new image. I had a chance a little earlier today to talk to Bill Ayer about a program that we've got in the works of a little bit of graphic design changes and you know, a fresher look for Horizon Air. We're going to be producing a special FYI to give the whole story and to give the visual concept. But right now, we'd just like to go to that and get some questions answered and go to that interview.
You just want to tease people.
A little bit.
Let's take a look at it.
Bill, in the March 8th issue of The Leading Edge, we reported about some research that had been done. Can you explain that?
Sure. Being in the market-driven, highly competitive environment that we are, we do a lot of research. It's very important for us to be in constant contact with our customers, understand what they like and maybe what they don't like about our product. We did some more formal research last summer, and what we found out were some things that I think we already knew in terms of our basic product, in terms of the need for frequent, reliable service on time, friendly people, hassle-free, amenities such as Starbucks were mentioned through that research, the mileage plan, the importance to frequent flyers of the mileage plan program. We also found out some things I think that surprised us a little bit.
Well, surprises, I'm sure, as well as frustrations from a marketing side.
Yeah, you know, some real frustrations. We know that our service, our product is superior in the marketplace. And the overwhelming positive response we get on comment cards, the people that are flying us have a very definite preference for us. The frustration is when a carrier like United Express can come into a community like Yakima and over a very short period of time build up some decent market share. When we know we're that much better, and yet we see some pretty good results on their part over a short period of time.
So Bill, what were some of those assumptions?
Well, without knowing any better, people would assume that United Express was just like United Airlines in terms of its attributes. They would think that United Express was a much bigger carrier than they really are, perhaps a more professional carrier than they are. Just looking at the airplanes, in fact, they refer to them as United in some of this research, but looking at the airplanes, the red, white, and blue, and the name similarity, people would just immediately transfer the attributes of the bigger airline, United, over to the small carrier, United Express.
Well, then on the other hand, what were they saying about us? What were we finding they were thinking that way?
Mixed reviews, especially among our non-passengers. Horizon appeared young, perhaps not as professional as we really are in some people's eyes, maybe even struggling in some sense, an upstart carrier, just not so sure of Horizon compared to United Express.
So these are people that have flown us or not?
That's a very important point. This perception was among primarily people who have not flown us. You know, in marketing and the way we develop our strategies, we're really looking at two broad groups of passengers, those that are familiar with us and those that are not. And it's important to remember that among those that fly us a lot, that are very familiar with us, we receive very high ratings in all the research that we do. But it's among the group that's not so familiar with us where we think we have some real opportunities to go out and get more people, become that much more dominant in the marketplace.
So what next, Bill? How do you tap that second group you were talking about?
That gets into something that market research people call halo effect. And halo effect is the perception, usually positive perception, of one company rubbing off or carrying over to another company.
So Bill, what implications does that have for Horizon?
Well, to me, it's like perception and reality. United and United Express, to use that example again, United Express is perceived by people that don't know differently to be more like United. Horizon and Alaska, on the other hand, each of us have absolutely the best service in the business, us as a regional and them as a bigger carrier, yet the tie-in is not very clear at all to our passengers.
So how do we make it more clear? How do we tie in?
Well, ever since we've become part of the Air Group family, we've been working very hard on the basic things like coordinated scheduling, joint fare pricing, mileage plan participation, making sure we can transfer bags to really facilitate, from a mechanical standpoint, the connections between the two companies.
Well, Bill, that's the reality. Let's get back to the perception. We're still trying to tap into that market that doesn't fly us, doesn't know us.
Exactly, and that's also our frustration. And going back to the research, we firmly believe there's a segment of traffic out there that's currently flying on the competition that ought to be flying on us if they only knew the reality of our superior service.
So how do we introduce that? I mean, what do we do?
We need some visual mechanism to tie the companies together.
Well, what kind of visual mechanism are we talking about?
There are a lot of things we can look at, but the most basic is the paint scheme on the airplanes. And let's just see where we're starting today. And I think you'll see here how very different, just like night and day, Alaska's airplanes look from Horizon's. And as we're addressing this segment that was pointed out in our research, this segment that we're not currently carrying on our airplanes, you can see that those people unfamiliar with us would have absolutely no idea that Horizon was related to Alaska Airlines.
Well, obviously the look is very, very different. Well, we can settle that. We can put an Eskimo on the tail, right?
Yeah, we're not talking anything like that.
Okay.
We know that the Horizon name and the identity of Horizon Air is very strong and very positive in all the communities that we operate.
Bill, bottom line, I've got to ask this, what are we going to do?
Okay, I think there are really two objectives here. The first is to tie in through some visual means the two companies, to adapt some elements on the paint scheme for Horizon. The second really is to update our look. And remember that the paint that we have today and the design was done in 1980. And so we've got to update that a little bit.
So Bill, when I hear the word updated, I'm thinking maybe a fresher, more contemporary look. Is that what we're going for, yet maintaining our identity?
That's exactly right. We want to update the look, we want to marry some visual elements, and then we want to build on our own identity.
Does that mean we're adopting Alaska's colors, the blue and green?
No, we don't have to do that at all. In fact, the colors are really a part of our identity. We're looking at staying within the same color range that we have today, varying the striping a little bit, and also updating the logo on the tail, freshening that up a little bit.
Can we expect a striking change or just an updated version of what we already have?
Basically, what we're doing accomplishes our objectives, I think, in all respects, in terms of what the marketplace told us we need to do. And people are certainly going to notice the difference, but it's really more in lines of an update and enhancing the tie-in with Alaska Airlines.
Well, now I'm anxious to see it. When is this going to be unveiled?
Well, we're very fortunate. We actually have established a repainting program for all of our airplanes over the next few years, the first of which is actually in the paint shop right now. And the added benefit here is there's no additional cost to this update. It's something we needed to do anyway. The airplane will be out and available for employees to look at on Monday, March 25th.
So we're going to see the new look on an airplane. Any other applications?
We've actually set an objective for all of the opportunities where we can communicate this visual tie-in. For example, on our station back walls, in the timetable, ticket jackets, collateral material of various sorts, stationery. Plus, we're integrating this enhanced tie-in through PA announcements, the flight information displays at the airports, in-flight magazine.
Tell me about how this is going to phase in. Will be an overnight change?
The key, I think, is on the cost side, and we normally have reorder points for these things. We have normal repaint requirements on various things, and as those times normally come along in the course of doing business, then we'll be integrating the new look at that time.
So it's efficient from a cost standpoint.
Absolutely.
Nancy, I'm sure you've got everyone's interest up now.
I think we probably do. I think what's really key, though, in going into this, John, is that we're not losing our identity. I've got to admit, the first thing, and it's not been long that I've known about this, the graphic design changes that are in the works, and I've seen it now, and I got to admit, I was pleased that we are really sticking to that commitment, that we are not going to change our identity, yet we'll be able to capitalize on some more positive effects.
That's right. It's evolutionary rather than revolutionary, and I think it's so fresh and clean, I think people are going to really enjoy it.
Now we'll have the special Leading Edge coming out on the 25th of March, as well as the special FYI, and the plane will also be in the system on the 25th. It will be coming up from being repainted. It'll stop in Portland, Seattle, Spokane, and Boise.
And so those groups will get to see it. Others could come in if they wanted to.
Sure, you bet. In a couple of days, we'll get a schedule out. We'll confirm the schedule so we'll know when the plane will be in those 4 cities. But at the same time, for people in the outlying areas, we'll have the video, and a color picture will accompany the Leading Edge, so everybody can take a look at what we're really going to see.
Yeah, so this is where we say stay tuned for further developments, right?
Yeah.